All right. Thank you for joining me, everybody. It is the 20th of April already. 2020. Some days it feels like we've been inside for years. Some days, I don't know how long. But I'm glad you're here with me regardless. All right. Chinese, Filipino, Thai, Indonesian, French and Dog Brothers, Japanese. I'm going to bring my wife Jean in again. And in the progression, because again, we go Jun Fawn levels are the prerequisites for the JKD phase levels. This is the way that it's been taught to me for a really long time. This is the way that I've organized my curriculum. Jun Fawn Gung Fu. Jun Fawn is Bruce Lee's Chinese name. So we might as well be saying Bruce Lee's personal system of Kung Fu. When we're looking at a Jun Fawn level, we're looking at techniques, combinations, the seminal building blocks that we have to have. All right. Now, as a JKD community, where we get into trouble is Bruce Lee passed away in 1973. We're coming up on, very shortly, few years from now, the 50th, half a century that this amazing individual passed away. The main argument seems to be, why have you changed things? Or should we be doing them exactly the way that Bruce Lee was doing them? And this is a great analogy. You can have a classic car. You can have a car from the 60s and have it fixed up and have it running. And that's a beautiful thing and it should be appreciated. Throwing out JKD in its entirety because you modernize it would be like if your classic car from the 60s had a busted spring or part and original parts were no longer available, you deciding, well, it's inauthentic, so because I can't get a spring from the 60s, I'm not going to drive that car anymore. You have this beautiful thing that in its day was, cutting edge and fantastic, and you're junking the whole thing because you're modernizing it, okay? So Jun Fawn is the prerequisite levels. Jeet Kune is the tailor-made system of combat that you evolve from your time spent in Jun Fawn. So Jun Fawn is a system, whereas Jeet Kune is a process and a philosophy. That's the way that I teach it. That's the way that I explain it. Some of my seniors, like I was doing a little bit of training with Sifu, Chris Kent, who's a first-gen Inosanto instructor. He started in the backyard. Slightly disagrees with that, but our disagreement doesn't mean that we can't talk with one another. I'm going to bring Jean in as soon as I can, and I'm going to show you exactly what this concept would look like, okay? So in the Jun Fawn levels, Jun Fawn level 1, we start with the dominant side forward. And so I have this trainer. I'm going to have Jean hold it for me, okay? So I'm right-handed. I would start in my right lead. Once I've learned my jab, my cross, my hook, my body hook, my uppercuts on both sides, my overhands on both sides, and then I added in, even though it's a little Panatukan-esque, I added in the hammer fists because they're good punches and they hurt, and you have lots of natural padding. Some people over time, they never develop a good overhand, but they can really easily develop a good hammer fist, okay? So we learn those as SDAs. If I just spent my time learning the singular tools, that's the first way of attack in Jeet Kune Do. SDA, single direct attack. Then immediately in the curriculum, we get into the next way of attack, which is ABC, attack by combination. So everybody doesn't matter what, I think most of you are right-handed anyways, put your right side in front And just follow along with me, even in the air. Triple jab, that's the first one. Jab, cross, jab. Jab, cross, lead hook. Jab, cross, lead body hook. Jab, cross, lead uppercut. Jab, cross, lead overhand. Jab, cross, lead hammer fist. Then immediately put yourself in a left lead. Triple jab. Jab, cross, jab. Jab, cross, hook. Jab, cross, body hook. Jab, cross, uppercut. Jab, cross, overhand. Jab, cross, hammer fist. There are more boxing 3 counts than just that, but when you are in my curriculum, Junfan level 1, you learn all the boxing 3 counts with your dominant side in front. Junfan level 2, you learn all those same 3 counts with your left side or your complementary side in front. So let's just do this because it's good to do. We won't do all of them in both leads, but we'll experience some of them. Go back to your dominant side in front. For most of us, that's a right lead. Cross, jab, cross. Cross, hook, cross. Cross, body hook, cross. Cross, uppercut, cross. Cross, overhand, cross. Cross, hammer fist, cross. Easy way to remember that is cross, X, cross. Insert all of your other boxing tools that are not 3, 1, 2, 3. Triple. We don't throw triple cross because it's just too slow. Like if you're fighting somebody and you're scoring 3 crosses in a row, that fight's over. You need to stop beating that. Like that person's about to drop. Okay. So easy way to do that. And then over time, you would want to do that on the other side as well. Right now, we're just exploring our Western boxing tools. You could totally cross, lead horizontal elbow, cross, cross, downward diagonal elbow, cross, cross, lead rising horizontal elbow, cross, cross, vertical rising elbow, cross. You could start playing with those tools as well, okay? Change leads, whichever lead you've been in, go to the other lead, okay? Then the last few of these, lead uppercut, rear uppercut, hook. Rear uppercut, lead uppercut, cross. Starting with the rear hand for both of these. Overhand, uppercut, overhand. And rear hammer fist, lead uppercut, rear hammer fist. And it's what I've been calling a forced exploration. You have to learn, or at least experiment with both the overhand and the hammer fist, even though technically they're on the same line. In the kids program, I just teach the hammer fist because they're easier. And the hooks in the kids program, I just teach them as slaps because they're learning the same body mechanics anyways. Okay? So that, and then if just thinking about Western boxing, dominant side in front for all those combinations for Junfan level 1, complementary side in front for all those combinations, Junfan level 2. Then when we get to JKD phase 1, we have, I think it's only a 1-minute round at that point that I call UBT, upper body tools. Now, what does upper body tools look like? Well, we would be wearing boxing gloves. We're not, so we're going to take it super easy. The bell would ring. We would pay respects to each other in some way. And we're using only our upper body tools. I can punch, I can trap, and we're playing around with that. And that really illustrates, hopefully in a very short time, the difference between Junfan and Jeet Kune. Junfan, I'm learning the seminal basics I'm learning my tools. I'm exploring Western boxing tools as SDAs, then in ABCs, attack by combination. In both leads, it's a forced exploration over 2 levels. Then by the time I get to JKD phase 1, I'm ready to apply. Which lead am I going to be in JKD phase 1? Doesn't matter. What feels better to you? Where do you want to be? Maybe 20 seconds into the round, you realize this person's a better fighter than me if I'm in an orthodox lead. So you switch. Oh, wow, this is beautiful. Man, the moment I came over to Southpaw, I'm a little bit more competitive. That's the difference between Jun Fan and Jeet Kune Do. All right. What I also wanted to cover today, because we haven't really dove into this yet, is grappling. What does grappling look like in my JKD program? For Jun Fan level 1, we're gonna have, and I'm gonna show you Jun Fan level 1 into the addition that we make in Jun Fan level 2. We're gonna have a technique. It's very much the kind of thing that the late Sifu Larry Hartzell liked. And he liked to refer to techniques like I teach in Jun Fan 1. I mean, this terminology is a little bit extreme. He liked to call them quick kills. And he didn't necessarily mean ending a life, but he meant from the standpoint of the fight, let's have a technique that lasts like a second and a half, and then the fight is terminated. That's without like a loss of life, but that's more what he meant by quick kill. Okay, so for the stand-up technique, the lead really doesn't matter. We start with just double bicep grab to quickly double bicep grab or half clinch. So usually when I teach half clinch, left hand behind the head with my elbow on center line. So all my Wing Chun basics, learning how to dominate center line, really pay off at this point. My right hand on the left bicep. How did I get here? Well, we don't entirely know, meaning it might have just been a situation, hopefully we don't enter into these things, where we were posturing, hey, fool, and saying mean things back and forth. And before things got serious, this posture is a really easy shutdown posture, okay? To put the person in for a split second. Now the transition on this is my left hand moves to the shoulder. I'm gonna push with the shoulder, or with the right, push the shoulder with my left hand, pull the bicep with my right hand. So again, I'm here, this left hand only transitions. I'm pushing with this, pulling with this. That sets me up really nicely for this rear naked choke, okay? And I mean, the rear naked choke has kind of become like a double leg takedown to a ground and pound. Everybody and their mother, because of MMA, could point out, oh, that's a rear naked choke. Some really important work on the rear naked choke, and I don't want to like abuse my wife, who's being very nice. This left hand, as it lays in place, should already be eliminating all the space. So the expression that I like to use, and forgive me because it's not very couth, life should already kind of suck as just one-handed before I even involve the other hand. So just in this case, it's my left arm. My left arm laying into place, life should already kind of suck for the person before I grab my right bicep and lock this up. Okay, so if I'm here, it's this transition, push with my left, pull with my right. My left hand grabs my right bicep. My right hand goes behind the head, and it's my job to just relax into that. And I don't necessarily know that I'm going to make my wife tap. So, I mean, but bear with. I have confidence enough to say without ego, my rear naked choke is pretty nasty. Okay, so if we can all train together, not that anybody's here is challenging, but I don't want to tap my wife out. She doesn't need to be, she doesn't need that. Okay, so we're here, transition, push and pull. This left hand wraps around, I grab my bicep and I wrap things up. What I like to say in grappling, 99.9% of the time, if you're offensive, it's your job to eliminate space. 99.9% of the time, if you're defensive in grappling, it's your job to make space. So with this one, I want complete and total elimination of space, even before I fully wrap that up. Okay, so that's the only stand-up technique in Junfon level 1 in the grappling subsection is half clinch transitioning to a rear naked choke. Okay, and see, yeah, we have some people training together. Most of you are training on your own. Stay right here. If your left hand is taking the half clinch and your right hand is bicep checking, your left hand transitions, you're pushing with the left and pulling with the right. That would expose the throat. The left hand wraps around, grabs your right bicep, and your right hand goes behind the head. And then you just want to literally relax your elbows, because the more I flare my elbows, remember, I'm offensive. It's my job to eliminate space, okay? If I'm flaring my elbows, I'm costing myself muscular energy to make it, to do a worse technique, which doesn't make any sense. So that's the first technique. Transition this left hand, push and pull, wrap, rear naked choke. Okay. This next variation to this technique, actually, I got it from Eric, coach. You know, he's got so many titles. Eric Paulson, he's an awesome, you know, and then Conrad sporting his CSW shirt. I got this from Coach Eric Paulson, who's got way more titles than just coach. He's an amazing guy. You start the same way as the last technique, but then you turn, and I'll show this from another angle. Gable grip your hands and escort the person out the door. It's a really nasty technique, okay? So, come over here. All right, so if we're here, here's the same technique. Without loosening the pressure, my left hand meets my right hand. You can see how compromised her balance is. And then you walk this person out the door. And I mean, essentially, they're like this, getting choked. Ah. So we say half clinch to rear naked choke. That's the version in the Junfon 1. Half clinch to rear naked choke to escort him or her, I don't want to be sexist, out the door, is what is in Junfon level 2. So because we already learned that in Junfon 1, that's a really easy transition. So I'll put you back over here. So once again, the technique is the same from what I learned in Junfon 1. I let go with my right hand. I gable grip here. I keep this super tight. And then I walk or escort the person out the door, okay? That's the I mean, I'm going into Junfon 2. That's the stand-up, just that technique into rear naked choke. That's the only stand-up grappling requirement from Junfon 1. We're gonna go down to the ground, okay? Come down here. You can stay on your knees, okay? And I'm gonna put her in focus mitts. If you don't have focus mitts with your part, it's fine. Okay. This whole sequence comes from Guru Inosanto, and I like to just call this contemporary Jeet Kune grappling. You know, Guru Dan has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He has the highest ranking in Shuto, shoot wrestling, from Sensei Yori Nakamura, along with all of his other experience. So no, this didn't come straight from Bruce Lee, but it's really good, and I really enjoy teaching it, and people are always a little surprised, where did you learn that? Well, I learned this in Jeet Kune classes at the Inosanto Academy, not MMA, not anything like that. So open guard is just fine. This is the first drill. We usually do it for 60 seconds. You're going to hit me and then hold for 3. So you hit me 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Cover 3, hit 3. Cover 3, return 3. Defend 3, return 3. Okay, and as time would go on, she would work different angles. She would change up her attacks, but for a basic demo, that's just fine. We do this drill for 60 seconds. Guru Inosanto has a great expression. Anybody can do anything for 60 seconds. It's only a minute. I really like this drill. So defend 3, return 3. Why is this so important? Because once again, everybody and their mother knows what a bad double leg takedown to maybe an ugly but still effective ground and pound looks like. So this is a really solid drill. Next drill, defend 3, clinch, simulate pressure, let her sit up, and fire 3. Okay? Now what we're really training here is defending some shots, clinching, giving her a false positive, meaning one hand is slightly off her head. She's going to sit right up into my hand, and then I'm free to hit. Okay? That's the second drill. Defend 3, clinch, simulate pressure, let go, fire 3. That's the way we train it. What we're signifying there, though, defend 3, clinch, let them injure their own neck, let them sit up because of a false positive into the back of your hand, and then you're either going to punch them or elbow them. But the way we train it, defend 3, clinch, simulate pressure, let go, fire 3. That's the second drill. Junfan 2, I'm gonna pull you down. Okay, so we're gonna go. Junfan 2, she's gonna like really go to punch me. Split entry, capture, turn. In reality, 3 punches. Can you hold the mid up though? That's it. Sorry. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Give me your left hand. Split, capture, turn. In reality, I'm hitting her in the face. She holds for training. She holds the focus mitt. Okay. Let me change the angle. Let's come over here a little bit. So we'll go right side again for you. And there's 4 variables. The only variables are the kinds of strikes that I do. Okay. So it's always split, arc, pull them down, turn. In reality, I'd be going here. Okay. Number 1, 3 punches. Number 2, 3 slaps. Number 3, 3 elbows. Number 4, 3 ridge hands. The ridge hands, in actuality, I'd be dropping to the top of the spinal column. Okay, that one's pretty serious business. Left hand punch, split, capture, haul the person down. Punches is the first one. Slaps is the second one. Elbows are the third one. Ridge hands are the fourth one. Okay, and then there's, which we'll go over at another time, there's more evolution to some of the responses. Later, we start working knees in there. We start working transitions into arm bars from our back, maybe the supine arm bar as well, or the prone arm bar. There's a whole family of techniques, okay? So if I'm, relax for 1 second, but stay here. If I'm by myself, make sure you can see me. When the right punch comes in, my left hand puts the lid on it. My right hand, whatever shape, my right hand attacks. It's always the inside arm hooks. I always turn towards the person. And then number 1 is 3 punches. Number 2 is 3 slaps. Number 3 is 3 elbows. Number 4, I'm dropping this bony intersection of my arm, excuse me, my wrist and my hand. That's what I'm dropping down onto the spinal column, okay? On the left, my left would attack as my right puts a lid on it. My left would hook and haul him down. I would turn on my left side. Number 1 is 3 punches. Number 2 is 3 slaps. Number 3 is 3 elbows. Number 4 is 3 ridge hands, okay? So that's a whole family of drills that we build off of, that we're taking our centerline understanding that we're cultivating in Wing Chun, that we're really developing and understanding in Jun Fan leading to Jeet Kune as an expression. And the first drill that we started with was just surviving shots. The second drill was surviving shots with some kind of a strategy. Then we're moving to like actually trying to apply our Wing Chun off of our backs with the person in our open guard type of a situation. And it's really very interesting block of material, okay? So this is the 5th week now that we've had Jeet Kune as the later offering on Mondays. I haven't really covered any of the grappling. I've been covering a lot of the striking. So I wanted to give you an overview of how I approach grappling. And last thing that I'll say about it, in my JKD curriculum, we do explore a very minimal exploration of submission grappling, but we're exploring it more from the standpoint of seeing some of the common things that manifest, especially with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu being so popular. And I'm happy to say, on camera, I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is awesome. I think submission grappling is awesome. Grappling without the presence of striking. Though I think there's a lot to learn there. In the JKD program, though, we're not looking to become submission grapplers. In the same way, we're not really looking to become boxers when we're doing our stand-up Western boxing. Like, we're looking to sort of soak in the essence of that art. All right. So, and it's the same way with our Wing Chun style trapping, which we're going to get into for the last part of this. Okay. So, I with grappling being so popular, and which is totally fine, I want everybody to kind of understand how and why I've organized my curriculum the way I have. We have some fairly modern innovation coming from Sifu Guru Inosanto as it pertains to JKD grappling, and we want to get educated some of the things that we see that are very common in submission grappling, from the standpoint of getting an education so that we know what to expect to be prepared to fight those things. Okay, we're going to stand up and go to trapping. I'm going to bring Jean back just as soon as I can. And since several of you are on your own, let's review this in the air before we think about, you know, another person. So we're in the high right reference point. Number one was that slap and hit, right? Slap and if you don't want to do a sutsao, maybe the reverse hammer fist. You certainly can guachoi, which is the back fist, but once again, not that it's wrong, because it is very traditional. If we think about actually executing a guachoi on somebody's face, one of the hardest bones in the human body, one of them, one of the densest collections of small breakable bones in my body, right? So I'm not saying you can't do it. I know tons of people with really nasty guachois. For me, I would do the sokol first. I would turn my hand over and hit with that reverse knife hand. Just you have all this nice padding, you know, skin, and when you get in the habit of turning it out, the sutsao included, let's say that you score but it's too deep, well, you end up with this nice forearm hack to the side of the head. So I'm not saying you can't do a guachoi, but I'm just telling you my reasons for my preferences. Okay, so number two, I'm gonna take these off you, great. So you know what I'll do is I'll do in the air. So number one is, as we just talked about, it is there. Number two, I start with number one. She parries across center line, so my left hand does a lopsao, and I score. So paksao, lopsao, slapping hand, pulling hand, hit. Once again, when I teach the lopsao, keep your thumbs out of the equations, not this. This. Everybody see my hand? Come a little closer. This is the way that I teach it, not this. This is grabbing. Here, no, I'm not hitchhiking. I wouldn't do it this way. My thumb would be on top because I don't need my thumb. Go back to the reference point. I don't need my thumb to grab. This is like overcommitted. All right? This is where you want to be. Because if they're super strong and you're in the habit of grabbing with your thumb, they're going to injure you. You don't want that. So that's our number two, slap and hit, pull and hit. In the air, slap and hit, and then the left hand would pull and hit, right? You're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't. Don't move. If you don't move, I'm going to hit the right side of your face. If you parry with your left hand, I'm going to reopen the line and I'm going to hit the right side of your face. That's Wing Chun. So that's our number one and our number two, trapping basics out of 7 in my Jeet Kune Do curriculum. Now, if you took Wing Chun, don't get confused. We're in another section of curriculum. Don't worry about anything we did in Wing Chun as far as the numbering and the order, okay? Right now, we want to try to get this down. 3 and 4, don't move this out of the way. Just so I'm not going to hit you, I promise. A little bit more. 3 and 4, I want you to still slap and hit, but I want you to come in with this chung choi, this vertical fist, okay? This reaction, most people are going to stop on center line or before center line. If she really overcommits and parries past, well, then you're just going to do number 2. You already know how to respond to that. When she stops me on center line, that's perfect. On center line or before center line, I'm going to go in and slap on the inside. So number 3 is double paksao or double slap and hit. If I'm by myself, slap, slap, right? The right hand is doing all the hitting and the left hand is doing all the trapping. And everybody looks great. Okay, whether you're by yourself or with a partner. Very good. The only thing for 3 and 4, the main thing to keep in mind, let me do it wrong for you. Ready? Perry? Here. She's being nice. That line is unoccupied. Okay, she doesn't want to mess up my demo because I asked her to help me, but that line is unoccupied. Nobody's going to stand there and just let you hit them in the face. Yeah, she's going to move. She's going to try to punch me. She's going to do something, okay? The way I should be doing 3 is here. So I'm a shorter person. I have shorter appendages. I lean my elbow in when I do my left elbow when I do 3 and I do 4. I'm not going to stand there all day admiring my work either, but for the purposes of demoing, technique 3 ends there, right? We could very easily go into some other kind of structure, okay, but we want to get down the trapping basics. So number 3 is double pox out. Number 4 starts like 3. We punch on this open line and then finishes like 3. So if you're in the air, start like 3, punch on this open line without moving your right hand, finish like 3. That's why I made that one number 4, because if you can do number 3, you can do number 4. Number 4 is number 3 with 1 additional punch. This one is 3. 4 starts like 3, and then I punch and finishes like 3. So 3 has 2 beats, 1, 2. 4 has 1, 2, 3 beats. So we have 4 out of 7 so far. Number 1, slap and hit. Number 2, slap and hit, pull and hit. Number 3, double slap and hit. Number 4, slap and hit, punch, and then inside slap and hit, sorry. Okay, number 5 is an outlier. An outlier, sorry. Okay. An outlier because I'm going to pull and hit. And then you're going to parry. Pull and hit. So turn this over and grab. Again, I don't involve my thumb. I like this reverse knife hand. Pull and grab and reverse knife hand. The reason why I like this reverse knife hand, I can see her out of my periphery and I can scan the area to see if there are any other opponents. I can see her. She's right here in my periphery. But right here, I can scan to see if there are any other opponents. That's why I prefer the Sutsao with the pivot. You could technically go Chung Choi, but again, that's very laser focused. I like this Sutsao with the rotation and this Sutsao because again, I get to scan the area that way. Okay, so let me go with her once. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I'm by myself, slap and hit 1, slap and hit, pull and hit 2, double slap and hit for 3, slap and hit, punch, inside slap and hit for 4, 5, pull and hit, pull and hit. So 5 in the air, pull and hit, pull and hit. 2 more, and we have all 7. 6 and 7, I'm going back to the knife hand. She's going to cross center line. In reality, I want to shoot this BUG because she violated center line. For training, we're going to do it where she slightly raises this arm and I get stuck. Called this position the wedge. So slap and hit wedge. Slap and hit with my right, left wedge. Like a left BUG that got stuck. Okay, so 6 to slap and hit. So slap and hit, get stuck on the arm, the wedge, slap the line open and score. So 6 is slap and hit, wedge, slap and hit. 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 Okay? Slap and hit, wedge, slap and hit. 7, slap and hit, wedge, pull and hit. Slap and hit, wedge, pull and hit. Slap and hit, wedge, pull and hit. So quick review for you, and we're going to run out of time soon. Next week, please make sure that you experimented with these 7, even in the air, because next week we're really going to look at entries. It's the entries where this material comes alive as far as Junfon preparing us for Jeet Kune Do. So 1, slap and hit, and that's it. 2, slap and hit, pull and hit. 3, double slap and hit. 4, slap and hit, inside, punch, inside slap and hit. 5, double pull and hit. 6, slap and hit, wedge, slap and hit. 7, slap and hit, wedge, pull and hit. Now, if you don't have all 7, take it, follow me for these last few minutes here to the best of your ability, because conceptually understanding is more important than like, oh yeah, I have all 7 and I feel great about them right now. If you understand the concept of what I'm about to go over, then you'll get this. Those are our 7 trapping basics. We learn them in Junfon level 1. In Junfon level 2, we start with our first entry. The entry, the very first entry, over here, is the Jeet Tech. Now, the defensive Jeet Tech, if she moves in, boom, I jam. The offensive Jeet Tech is, no, you stay there.
Sorry.
You're fine. The offensive Jeet Tech is for me to move in, okay? What we found when I developed this progression, it's very awkward for this first entry to have a feeder every time have to give a step and slide. So we just tend to do these offensively. Okay, so quick review of only 1 through 4. This was 1, this was 2, this was 3, this was 4. So those first, those first 4 off this entry, just hold your lead, there you go, like a southpaw, fantastic. Now you're not gonna be able to see my feet, not really, but it doesn't matter. Jeet Tech, slap and hit, that's number 1. Jeet Tech, slap and hit, parry to pull and hit, that's number 2. Jeet Tech to double slap and hit, that's number 3. Jeet Tech to slap and hit to Chung Choi to inside slap and hit, that's 4. And I would do all 7 normally. That's the requirement for Junfon level 2. Then we have your phase 1 JKD test. Then in Junfon level 3, jab me, split entry to ball and socket. That's the second entry, split entry to ball and socket. If I score with the ball and socket, it's number 1, jab me. She crosses center line, it's number 2. She stays on center line, parry. It's number 3 or number 4. For 5, I can loy lock, parry. Means I can pull and hit on the inside. 6, she crosses center line, so I wedge and pop. 7, she crosses center line, I wedge and lob. So it's all 7 from that entry. Third entry, stay over there. This is more of a long range. Come forward at like a half inch. Yeah, freeze right there. Third entry, fake the buji to low now tech. Number 1, I score. Number 2, she crosses center line. And there. 3 and 4, she doesn't. 3 would go right in, 4 would punch her first. 5, I can just reach out and grab. 6 and 7, she crosses center line. 6, I pock. 7, I lop. So that's 3 entries, 7 basics. So you could say, well, that's 21 things. No, it's not. It's 7 things that you have different ways of getting into. So you're good. Throughout the entire curriculum, there are 7 entries. So, I mean, obviously it's not a huge mental math leap. Well, if you're thinking, oh, that's 49 things. Well, not really. It's just 7 things with 7 different ways to get into it. Oh, and then you have a second lead. So you could look at, oh, it's 98 things I got to learn. Well, not really. That's 7 things to learn. Here's number 1. I haven't done my left side in a while. There's number 2. There's number 3. That was number 4. Pull and hit. There's number 5. Slap and hit, wedge, slap and hit. There's number 6. Slap and hit, wedge, pull and hit. There's number 7. So the idea is going to be develop ownership over those 7 trapping basics out of those 7 entries. And I've taught this now this way for almost a decade, and most people that come to me, even if they have no background, this seems to work very well for most people. So next week we'll open with trapping, because again, I to the best of my abilities, I don't want you to feel like, I don't want you to feel like you're always taking the same class in the same order. I'm more than happy to review curriculum and answer questions, but I don't, I don't know about you. We already have enough things in our lives right now that feel like the movie Groundhog Day. So I don't want you to have that experience with these classes. Like, didn't he do exactly the same thing last week? I mean, I will repeat myself. I mean, as an instructor, I have my little pet expressions and pet ways of explaining things. So you'll certainly hear those again and again, like any instructor. But as far as like the actual layout of what I'm teaching, I want to try to break it up for you a little bit so that you don't feel like you're seeing just this. It's the same class every week, no matter what. All right. So are there any questions?
I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Logan.
Yeah, so for the Jeet Tech, what part of your, to jam, what part of your foot are you supposed to be using? Is it the outside of the foot or the inside of the foot?
So it's a low side kick. So I mean, here, let me, if we're being super real about it, I mean, it's harder barefoot, right? And I'm really only barefoot because I'm on my mats. With a sneaker, it doesn't matter so much. Like, as long as you have good form and it's straight, and even a thin sneaker, you have all that, that protective plastic, boom, to just blast the shin. It's sort of the outside edge of my foot merging with kind of where that meets the bottom of my foot to like really give it a name. But if you have, like, here, we have this linen cabinet in this room. Okay, like, I might play just touch it. I mean, obviously this is something I own. It's not a kicking target, but I mean, just if you have anything in your environment, like you have a door open behind you, you could stand in that door frame and just practice for a split second without damaging your door, like straight leg, and just imagine jamming for that half second. Like, it's somebody moving in on you, boom, and on that beat, you just lean back, give them your full weight with that low side kick. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. And there'll be times where I have like a really specific answer, and there'll be times like that question, like straight leg, good form, boom, in that split second, as long as you feel powerful and you're jamming them. Like, where on your foot to the centimeter, and I'm not invalidating your question, it's a very good question. Like, but the very minute specifics in that particular question aren't super important, just as long as you feel like you have balance and posture and you could jam for a split second before you moved in and executed some kind of response. Okay, great. Any other questions? Okay, I'm just gonna do this real quickly, everybody. In the chat section, I do just want to make you aware of this. I'm just gonna share this URL. It's Stoops, OMALC.com, like online martial arts learning community. Once again, these classes on Monday and Wednesday are something that's in the sphere of my control. Excuse me. What do I do? I'm a martial arts instructor. What can I do for the world right now? I can do some martial arts classes, even though I know this is my Family Martial Arts Academy Living Room Edition isn't super pretty. And I can put that content into the world at no charge. And that's my commitment to keep doing that. If you will visit stoopsomalc.com, there is some information about, right now it's my Filipino martial arts yellow belt kit. Over the next 2 days, I'm going to be adding JKD level 1, which would be Junfon 1, C-Lot level 1, which would be yellow E-Kit, and the first level of my kids program. I know that money is different for everybody right now, and I want to really respect that and honor that. The yellow belt kit, which is the name is going to change to the level 1 kit, is sort of a chance for people to kind of dip their toe, meaning it's a distance option for you to actually earn rank under me. All right, and it has everything that you need if you wanted to do that. For each bullet point on the curriculum here, for example, like I won't take the time, like this is the second level of my kids program. Every bullet point, there is an accompanying study video where I teach the required technique on video. I give you all the explanation that you need. And then there's a section on how to submit a video exam, okay? If you're interested, that would be awesome. The best thing that you could do is go there and submit your, if you put in your name and email address, you get to watch some free content. And then I don't tend to write people on my list every single day, but I certainly will write you as things come along. And then I do have some other membership options in that online martial arts learning community. Everything is discounted right now because everybody's suffering some kind of financial, in some kind of financial way. So I'm just making you aware of that. All right. So there you go. If you have any questions, you can send me an email or a message on Facebook or anything like that. I need to at least just start making folks who show up for these classes aware there are some paid options if you would like to formalize a distance learning relationship with me, okay? And if you can't or don't care to, as far as the paid options, I'm always still very grateful that you make the time to show up for these free classes. And these are a lot of fun and they keep me sane, okay? So there's my little commercial for the day. Let's bow the class out and we'll wrap this up. Chinese, Filipino, Thai, Indonesian, French and Dog Brothers, and Japanese. Awesome. All right, I'm going to end this recording.